WeThrive is here to help organizations and their people get into a position where everyone can work well and enjoy work wherever they're doing it, which should be a win-win for all concerned. That's all we want to do. WeThrive is not a psychometric, it's not a performance management tool, it just aims to help people get into a better place. One way to define what that would be like is to ask people what they remember about the best work they ever did. We've asked many thousands of people that question, and these are the sorts of things they say. The exact words change, but the meaning always includes these ideas. Everyone wants to know exactly what they're supposed to be doing, why and who for. They want to have the knowledge, skills and resources to carry work out well, and they want to feel competent and be acknowledged for what they've done. At a social level, we all want to feel part of something and for that thing to be useful. Very occasionally, somebody will say money, but that's surprisingly rare. But how does your employer know whether people are getting these kinds of experiences of work or not? Most companies, frankly, don't really. And that's where WeThrive comes in, because it shows what people's experience of work is like. It then generates analysis and plans, provides learning resources to help line managers do their job well, and it keeps track on what's being done, what's being achieved. This is important because almost all of us want to succeed at work. It's how most of us get almost all our other needs met in the world, so it really is important. In the modern workplace, this generally involves acting intelligently and playing our part in a team. And that, of course, is what the organization wants us to do as well. But these aren't givens. In fact, our abilities to do these things vary quite widely from time to time. The reasons for this are complicated. Now, this is only a model and it is a huge simplification, but it's still useful to think of the human brain as being in 3 layers. Up at the top of the head, we've got all the modern functions like language and logic, and the sense of proportion you need for complex decision-making, the thinking brain, if you like. Then we have an emotional brain, which handles all our social interactions, our social interconnections, which underpin almost all the traffic between us as human beings, because we're a social species. And then under that, there's another little brain altogether, the amygdala, which runs the stress response, the fight or flight reflex. Now, when the whole brain's reasonably calm, we're able to use the thinking brain, which is pretty important for knowledge workers. But as stress mounts and the brain starts to feel pressured or under threat, more primitive areas start to take over. We can actually become less intelligent, less able to communicate, less collaborative, less able to do creative thinking and solve problems. We actually become more selfish, more likely to defend territory and build silos. In the longer term, as you may know, stressed people become ill. Stress is now the #1 cause of lost working time after coughs and colds. So we need a way of understanding what people find stressful, even the things that we're not necessarily aware of being stressful at work, because then we could measure what people's experience is like in those areas and help them to acquire knowledge, develop skills, and change working practices so that they feel better. So that's what organizations use WeThrive to do, to find out what working life is like so that they can try to make it better. If your organization uses WeThrive, you'll get an invitation to take part, and then you'll be asked 16 broad questions about working life, followed by some supplementary questions, which depend on what you said on the first page of the survey. There are also opportunities to contribute more text about things you like or things that you think should be improved. As these text comments are always anonymous, they're a good way to get things out into the open. What happens next is that managers get a set of reports showing how working life is for their teams, with action plans suggesting a series of conversations that could be useful in clearing away frustrations and difficulties. We want everyone to have a successful time at work, whether in the office or remotely, whatever their position in the company. And we want to help every manager become a super manager so that they're really useful to the staff they're looking after. And we want to help organizations build a culture and environment that just works for the people who work in it.